Hi, Max Schenk here, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite teachers, and that is speed. It's not a very conventional teacher. Most teachers tell you what to do, but speed shows you what you're doing wrong, and it gives you an opportunity to enhance your skills naturally. So I hope you enjoy this. So one of the things I've really enjoyed about learning music as an adult is it's given me a really great appreciation for how you do certain things rather than just doing them. And piano is such a great example because when you go super slow, like I've been talking about, it allows you to focus on the details of the transitions. There have been several parts of Moonlight Sonata where I've struggled with the transitions of how to move my fingers from one setup to the next. And what you find is the slower you go, the more awareness you have of all of your different fingers. So for example, if I try to like fly through it, I'm not really going to be able to think my way through to the best path. But if I go extremely slow, not only will I be aware of where I am, but I'll also be aware of where I'm trying to go, and I'll have time to independently articulate each finger and come up with the most effective and efficient transition for that particular move. And with exercise, it's basically the same thing. People tend to just fly through it way too fast, and then they suddenly don't know where their arm is, they don't know where their legs are, they don't know where their torso is, they have no idea what their head position's like, or whether or not they're carrying a lot of excessive tension in the neck and shoulders. So what I would urge you to do, whether you're playing music or with exercise, is to be aware of what's going on in as many of your body parts as possible. And this is a concept that I teach in some of my courses called segmental disassociation. And basically that's just a fancy way of saying you can control many different body parts all at the same time to do independent tasks. And music has really taught me a lot about movement because of the importance of timing and using super slow training to really refine how you do it rather than just do the thing. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about because sometimes it's a little bit easier to see and hear rather than just have me say it. So I can either like fly through it, but it doesn't give me an opportunity, and actually that was pretty good because I've been practicing very slow. It's allowed me to refine those transitions. And if you go very slow, you're going to be able to find that best path. Maybe the best example of people letting their ego lead the way is on the pull-up. People go way too fast, way too soon, just to do a pull-up. And it's not about doing a pull-up. It's just the same way it's not about doing a backflip or playing that song. People are very hung up on how soon will I be able to do blank. But they're not concerned with when can I have the chance to do it well? And that's kind of what the point of going super slow allows you to do, is it allows you to do things well and hone in on some of the details. So when you do a pull-up very quickly, you can get your shoulders out of their ideal position and you can shift the load to some of the neighboring muscles that aren't normally responsible for it. And this develops bad movement patterns over the long term. So a good pull-up should be able to be executed at a variety of speeds, and most importantly, super slow. The experiment that I would like to have you guys try is pronated, supinated, mixed grip on both sides, and see if you can do a 30-second pull-up. I'm going to go relatively slow just to show you what I'm talking about. And what I would also encourage you to do is not just stay linear. I would encourage you to explore the space a little bit, shift the weight to your left and right arm, and try to experience and feel what that difference is. The whole point of super slow, remember, is to give you a chance to feel what is happening in greater detail. And with music and martial arts, that's been used for centuries. And with exercise, it gets a little bit too commonly overlooked. So I'll show you exactly what I mean. And we want to go very slow throughout the entire motion. Very important in the pull-up to keep your abs engaged so you have a nice anchor and foundation for your shoulders to move from. So we'll start by getting the shoulder blades locked in nice and slow, and then we're going to initiate the movement with a small elbow bend. And you want to, now that you have this small change, keep that elevation, shift side to side. We're going to go up a little higher, shift side to side. And the goal is to have complete control throughout the entire pull-up. And if you find a spot where it's a little bit more challenging, like this spot over here feels the most difficult for me, so that means that I would benefit from doing a little bit of extra work there. Move a couple inches, shift side to side. And once you get to that nice tall top position, own it, hang out, move your legs around, really stay solid, and then you're going to reverse that movement all the way down. Nice. So you can use that for really any exercise, provided it's a safe environment and a low enough load, and you will be shocked to see the difference it makes when you go back to that move later. So you can go very slow, and that's going to give you a chance to refine how you do it. If you just go really fast all the time, you're not really going to ever achieve any reasonable level of mastery. So what I would strongly urge you to do is do some very slow training, but also incorporate fast training, because making mistakes is how we learn. Like, I'm not going to beat myself up about making a mistake. You just start over. It's no big deal. But forcing yourself to go a little faster, provided it's in a safe environment, is also going to teach you from the other side of the spectrum. So it's not like super slow training is the best and super fast training is the worst. Once again, it's a spectrum. And if you own the full spectrum of speed, just the same way if you own the full spectrum of rep ranges, very low reps, very high reps, that's going to give you a more well-rounded training program. So think, rather than there's a best speed or a worst speed, or a best reps or a worse reps, or best exercise, worst exercise, think of it as a spectrum and just make sure you own the full spectrum. However, I will say this, the most common thing I see neglected is super slow, whether that is with piano or whether that is with exercise. So the deadlift is either one of the greatest exercises you can do, or a surefire way to mess yourself up by using your ego to lift the weight. When of course you want to be using the glutes, hamstrings, and back. I find that people focus way too much on the amount of weight they lift rather than the stimulus that they create for the body to adapt. And that's, of course, the purpose of training. I don't care how much weight you have on the bar. I care about what kind of learning environment you can create for your body. So the deadlift is a great time to use a light weight and go very slow and own every range of the deadlift. I see a lot of people doing only fast deadlifts, only dropping it, and this is a surefire way to mess yourself up. So we're going to use kind of the same super slow principle from the martial arts and music and apply it to the deadlift. This is also, turns out, one of the best ways to actually stretch your hamstrings, because you're using them under load, and then you get them to also return the load, and eccentrically load and then concentrically load. So I'm going to initiate the movement by, once again, owning that first part and lifting off the ground. Now, if I start feeling my low back here, it means I'm going to feel it throughout the entire movement, and it is off the ground. I want to be in a nice position the whole time. I'm going to come up a few inches. Should be able to still support the weight, no problem. This is also a good time to make sure that my low abs are engaged. And then we're going to go up a little higher. So you can either do it the way I'm doing, with like a 5-second hold at several different stages of the movement. Part of the reason I like this so much is it gives you an opportunity to see where your weak spots are, or you can go just super slow eccentric. You can see I'm actually starting to shake a little bit, because even though this is only 155 pounds, you can make it very challenging. So the lesson here is, it's not about the number of pounds that you lift, because what the hell is a pound anyway? It is about the stimulus that you can create and the learning environment that you can give your body. So super slow, very effective for both deadlifts and pull-ups like we showed earlier. It's going to be similarly effective for just about every gym movement. And I would strongly encourage you to at least back off for a week, 2 weeks, a month is probably better, and incorporate some super slow training to own those movements and positions.